see, characters are very well sketched. But sometimes there are stories which do not make sense, which are symbolic. So this young man will be there, he'll go somewhere, and then there is one dark woman, then there is one woman with dark hair, dark in complexion, then there is one lady with totally grey hair who's standing there. It represents day and night actually. So there is personification of nature, there is symbolism of character, there is symbolism of instances. So our defined, if somebody asks what is the purpose of life, India has an answer. It says Purushartha. Again, Purusha is not necessarily man. Purusha is any person on the path of, who's a seeker, who has the characteristics of wanting something more in life. Okay, seeking the meaning of life, seeking life. Student is a Purusha. Every student is a Purusha of anything. So Purushartha, for this person who wants to think about life, because many are there who don't want to, and that's fine too. It's a complete life. But if you are in this path or you are in one of these platforms and you say, what is the purpose of this life? It is fourfold. Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Okay, Artha is what? Money. Means. Any means. Kama is desire. My desire. I want to have a Benz, a BMW. I want to own a vineyard. I want to own a, like 1 acre in Bangalore city. I want to have this museum in Bangalore city. Is my desire. I want to get the first rank. And then is there desire? Means. You want to get the first rank if there are no little students here anyway. One is to study, suffer the tensions of exam and go through the process. Another is to get hold of some ministerial connection, cheat. So the former is dharma. Within the framework, I work very hard. I'll work 24 hours a day, maybe. It's okay. I get what I want. Second is, I cheat. That means I'm not in dharma. Now, if you take this, right? If you imagine a frame, there is a wooden barrier to this blue board. So dharma is the chaukat, the border. So when your achievement is within this framework of dharma, next dimension you go off to, it is called moksha. What is moksha? Many explanations are there. Since I have not experienced it, I can only read book and tell you. Bliss, ananda. Art gives you that, wah, comes in art, right? That is ananda, example of what can be long term. So, that is the main goal of life. So, as you go deeper, they're taking you towards this goal of eternal happiness, momentary happiness. Art, music, dance, any art, you'll experience it. Even being involved in your work. If you're passionate about what you do, you will experience this happiness. You will see it in the faces of many people who just are crazy about what they do. And that is the value. So, all these stories are stylized and surreal and they're codified. At a base level, characterization of the epics at Ramayana, Mahabharata is pretty straightforward. If you go to Bhagavata, it's codified. You'll have to have somebody help you with a few of them and then you'll be able to go through it yourself. Because there's a lot of symbolism. Why do we use symbol? Right now we are working on this. Panini's sutras in grammar, Sanskrit grammar, they're short. It is said, an explanation for the Professor K. Skandan was telling me, for the use of the word the in English, THE, is about 254 pages to completely understand when to use this. While Panini, the whole of the grammar, he is given in, I forget the exact number, maybe 108 sutras. Whole of language is given in that. It is now being used in artificial intelligence. And he has given it in the form of sutra. It's called Maheshwara Sutras. We're going to come out with a production to explain all this very soon. So, this is the nature of the Indian work. They do not stretch things. They compact it, they hand it over to you, so you can use it to whatever lengths you want. It can become a whole language for you. It can be just that. It can be just an utterance for a dance, something like that. So even the epics are codified like this just for efficiency purposes. You invest in a system when you're at the age of 10, the payoff is as long as you live. And it's not boring, because every decade you are going to discover more and more and more about yourself. And the mind is what is treated there, not the human being. The human nature, the human mind, which is universe. This is a very valid question, because I have also struggled. First, we'll take it in two phases. One is for a child. How do you expose a child to the content? See, you have to inculcate a taste. It is very important to inculcate a taste. India has survived because India inculcated a taste. We are a tropical country, sunlight is there, we have worked with it and inculcated a taste. So beginners, things like Amar Chitrakatha are fantastic. Then you go to Bharati Vidya Bhavan, there are English books, because language for us is a barrier. Sanskrit, I'm not a Sanskrit scholar either. So time is important for us, because we don't have so much indulgence of time. So one is books like Amar Chitrakatha, and books in Bharati Vidya Bhavan are available, which with good English, good writing, and which are closely, which relate to the original very well. Next, it is very important for Indians to have a grip on their mother tongue. Because if you lose language today, if you lose literacy of your mother tongue today, whatever it is, 150 years from now, you'll be creating a vacuum, and you will be creating a reason for India to become museumized. You will be responsible for that. So it is unfortunate that India carried the British system of education and has ignored the vernacular to a point where in Bangalore kids, they'll say, what is your mother tongue? They'll say English. I teach children, okay? So if you can encourage the child to learn, even if you don't know, it doesn't matter. So that in the local languages, there are fantastic translations. Third, let us say not accessible. Online, we have something called PDFs available of Sanskrit series. All works are available, PDF you can download. Now, initially, you may find it a little boring. You might want to have study group, maybe, where you will say, I'm going to read it. Harvard has this. They take a guitar and go, and they sing for Mahabharata. I've seen this in the cafes. But you have to, you can put a little effort. If you want to learn Sanskrit at all, there is Aksharam offering classes for free. They'll come to your house, to your apartment, you get 10 students, they'll do it for you. The best way of learning Sanskrit language is to learn shlokas. Buy CDs, because the noun comes in. Once the noun comes in, this is the utility of shlokas. Whether you're a believer, non-believer, doesn't matter. Adjectives and nouns are there in shlokas. So in a household where this is taught, they have access to world knowledge. You don't need to go to Germany to read things. And tomorrow in artificial intelligence, all the pundits I've seen, with all their religious clothing, we have the people who are in the Vaidika Dharma, the priests. They're all being employed by the central ministry to use language, Sanskrit grammar. That's how we are doing Panini's work now. Because we said, we missed this. So it's not too late, and Amar Chitrakatha is a beginning for content. Grammar and language, if you are personally interested, umpteen lessons are available in the city. There are blogs, Preksha. Subscribe to that. When you have time, read. It's in English. Preksha gives a fantastic translation of all the works in English. And it also is by a bunch of professionals who are passionate, dedicated, and they've really spent time studying. They're all young people, in their 20s, early 20s. Most of them are early 20s, some of them late 20s. So this is available to you. The Preksha blog is good, and books are there in the stores. And if you don't want to have books, PDF files are available online. So start with one. Mahabharata is an interesting read for the household because too much life is there and it's very beneficial. You learn to handle things, You'll say, big deal, I know what to do. And it is said in Ramayana, Vasishta asks, Dasharatha asks Vasishta, he says, Rama is 16. He says, Maharshi Vasishta, I looked at myself in the mirror, today I have grey hair. What do I do? Vasishta gives him a big sermon. Start treating your children as your friends. So he says, no more age barrier between you and your children. So step down, let him handle, let him learn life. Let him listen to him, listen to the young person. So these transitions are there in us. So if we benefit, if we learn it, because we will be free of mind. Once you're free of mind, you look young, you'll be young forever. And it is there for you. You can explore it. See, Dhaatu has a website. Ours is very minimal work because in a country like ours with so much population, what we do is just not enough. But my bookends are my human existence. So that's all that can be done. But you're most welcome. We have a Sunday happening. If you want to learn puppetry, because today I didn't really go much into puppetry other than giving you, if you want to learn puppetry or explore puppetry or use puppetry somewhere and learn more about it, 12th and 13th May at Dhaatu, we have a Sunday. Sunday is where you come 10:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Something or the other is going on. You can come and dabble with puppets, make puppets, play puppets. It's there. There are free workshops, there are paid workshops. There's just walk through and just try out something. And there are shows, there is storytelling, Tattva Katha. I must introduce my husband Vidya Shankar, who's a philosopher and a writer. And he's going to handle subjects, tough subjects, all the enigmatic subjects and the abstracts. He's an expert with that, so he's going to handle it. Please come, we're going to announce Tattva Katha hours online. So if you even are curious about it, come, because it's a walk-in. And you can listen to it and try your things out. And we have some books you can see, whatever we have. If it suits you, it's easily available in the market, you can get it. And what is that publication from Varanasi? Banarsi Das. Very inexpensive. See, most of these books are Motilal Banarsi Das. Gita Publications is there. Motilal Banarsi Das is also there. Store is there in Jainagar 3rd block. I'm sure it's there online. And you can walk through the store sometimes and browse very inexpensive books. Dhaatu started basically as a cultural education center because I realized once I had a competition, prizes got left behind and I wondered what is going on, how do we make people win prizes, answering questions. And Dhaatu started with epic education for arts. Because once again, grammar may be very good, but if the content doesn't have energy, it's boring. Even the most extraordinary, like an Apsara or somebody or a Gandharva, somebody is standing in front of you, you will watch. But a little less standard, you will watch and say, I was enough. So the spirit power is important for a performer. And how to give this? Basic is content knowledge. Because the content gives you, it's like sculpting your mind. You'll become smart, you can, even GD, group discussions you go, you can turn it, I've experienced. So that is there. So I thought it very important to give these to children, and that's how Dhaatu started. Then how to give, of course, sugar coating on the pill was puppetry, but I fell in love with puppetry. And I realized all the problems associated, and I said, let me dedicate life and see what happens. So that's how it grew. It's an NGO registered. A lot of puppet work happens. And we are encouraging puppeteers from different cities, villages of India, different parts of the world. We learn from each other, And it's an ongoing process, will go on as long as it can go on. See, this also I speak from experience. Because initially when I started puppetry, my experience was in dance. In dance, when we do a margam, when I do a varnam, that means I've completely immersed myself on stage into my performance. At some point, you will experience an ecstatic high. This happens in dance. When you are a successful performance, you cannot predict when this will happen, which audience it will happen to, at what time it will happen. You just cannot predict it, but it will happen, can happen. So I have a few experiences of this ecstatic joy of dance, and to me it is body, mind coming together, rise with the audience, because exchange is important. If nobody there is interested, I can feel even if I have my eyes closed. So I thought it was impossible in puppetry. Now when I play a character with puppets, for example, I'll tell you, I was doing this Vijayanagara Vaibhava where it is about, Mysore, the Tunga river, still time rolls. What happened in these river banks? What is it that we have witnessed? Purandaradasa is one of the characters who will come. So when I play Purandara, I will become Purandara. When I play Sutradhara, I will play Sutradhara. See, difference between, there is a very fine line here I will explain. You are an observer, even when you are an actor, because you have to get your cues. You have to perform. You have to know your audience. You are an observer of everything, yet you are deeply into it. But you are not it. This is a training I have received, where I will observe, I will render, I will participate, yet I can get out. So the same training works with puppets. And when you apply the same training to puppet that you are, and you become one, you're aware of your exit, you're aware of your entry, you're aware of your dialogues, you're aware of when you have to do what. But your energies merge with the puppet. And at that point, you have horripilation. It is Satvika, it is an experience. What is that? Hair rising, ice, water flow, from your tears flow, and you feel like you're flying. So this experience happens with puppets also. And that day, I cannot see my audience. I perform behind a screen. When I came out that day, 3,000 people in the audience. And they too, how do I know how they felt? Kannada Prabha review came, where they have extolled the performance in many ways and said, puppets were 4 feet high. It is not. It is an optical illusion. So it can be done. See, the basic is the same. That means you go on stage, you do not exist. First, I do not exist. Yet I am observer. I merge and yet I am aware. And that means I have fine-tuned my grammar. See, first is to learn you have to practice to perfection, then forget the grammar. If you do that, you will have Satvika Vinaya. It is called Satvika in Natya Shastra. That part of merger cannot be taught. It has to come from within. So that is existence of the soul, if you believe it, or your emotions invested. And at that point is where truth matters. Because you have to be extremely honest to yourself, to your audience, and to your art. You will experience it. But you have to work. There is no shortcut to rehearsal. Rehearsal has to happen. And you have to work. And then forget about it. Not at all. But it costs, a robotic arm costs 1 crore rupees. It will kill the puppeteer. It is there. Indian Institute of Science, there is a CDT department which has come up with, it is not, the work is nice, but it is not fantastic, and they have weight problems. Puppets cannot weigh more than 400 grams. Even for a puppet to weigh 400 grams, but if it succeeds, see, research is going on, R&D is there. 2 people have done this in Asia. One is in Singapore University. The paper is very nice, but I haven't seen the product. IIC is on and off doing it for 15 years now. So their working I've seen, they claim eventually that sitting in Bangalore, I can do multiple shows in multiple cities. I can program and basically manipulate a system. If I install systems everywhere, I can do it. Not a bad idea at all. First is it has to inspire. And I have tried bogussing, because something sounded very nice. Midway I dropped because you cannot take it through. It is very difficult. It's a lot of work. So first is I'm completely convinced and inspired by the content. Then I sit with the content, saying what are the elements where, see now you have masala box office you have to consider. Because art has to entertain. At the outset, first requirement is entertainment. That means I have all these navarasas. Sholay, you will understand when I say, if most of you would have seen. So, elements are important. That means you have to treat your audience to a good show. And the design has this in mind. Without sacrificing the content, without sacrificing the character, without sacrificing the author's presentation. Because I'm touching somebody's work which has been in India for thousands of years. I have no right to mess up with it. I would rather write my own than mess up somebody's work. Anyway, it's a mess. So, with that in mind, I will create characters to take care of all of these rasas. Little bit of this, little bit of that. And won't take it too serious, won't have too much pathos, balanced. And then character movement is designed. After the movement is designed, some will need special strings, some need no legs, some need special arms, jaw movement, eye movement, maybe. This is all defined. And then that goes into workshop. These characters are created. And then there is recording of music, rough recording. After these characters are done, we paint, string it, play it, check if that works. And then final costume happens. And if the music is not working for the puppets, again I'll go back to the studio, change the music, then do the mastering. By the end of all of this trial and error, we will emerge with the production. So we predetermine the length of the production to some extent, plus or minus 5 minutes happens. And also the complication of the production, how deep is the investment into the scenes, the backdrops, lighting is considered. Or some are mobile, we travel a lot. People invite us and we go. So that is also considered. But doesn't mean this yields a perfect show. I am always apologetic on the first show. Over time, we learn our mistakes, improve and present it. That's Tattvakatha. Yeah, we're doing it. So it's a continuous process to daily, mundane life. See, I'm not even theorizing on this. For him, it's his journey. For me, it's my journey. It's a practical experience. Because I have 3 kids. And then I've gone through life. And my kids are successful and don't be aghast. It's in a positive way. That's my little one. And we've always encouraged them to find their own and become successful. And all of them are creative. And we have 5 creative people in a household. And we need Tattvakatha more than anybody else. And so we share our experience with everybody. And that's a beautiful journey. Because everybody is involved and this is pretty much what it is. You experience freedom and success and that is what it is.